Hello everyone. You all are most welcome in this class. We will come to know about Robert Kingsley Merton, R.K. Merton, and we know he's an American sociologist and functionalist. He explained about the functional theory and he has given many concept, function, dysfunction, and non-function, manifest function, manifest dysfunction, latent function, and latent dysfunction. These are the very important, and he has given the concept of deviation, conformity, innovation, ritualism, rebellion, and he talked about the anomic disorder in society. R.K. Merton mainly focused on social structure. R.K. Merton study about social structure. He was born on July 5, 1910 in the slum of South Philadelphia. His parents were immigrants from Eastern Europe. His father was a carpenter and truck driver. He grew up with a passion for knowledge and learning. At the age of 8, he had discovered the local public library and started to read books of many fields. He was more interested to read biography. And now we will see the R.K. Merton. As a sociologist, Merton's interest has been in diverse fields such as sociology of science and the profession, sociological theory, mass communication, and so on. He has widely written on science, housing mass, persuasion, interview, business administration, freedom to read, social problems, and crime. Social theory and social structure is considered as Merton's major contribution in the field of sociology. In this book, he has written two classic essays on the relationship between sociological theory and empirical research, advocate a structural functional approach to the study of society, and has given the concept of manifest and latent function dysfunction. Besides functional analysis, he has also discussed the concept of anomy and theory of reference group in his book. Other major works in the field of sociology are middle-range theory and role set, important sociological work. Very important sociological work is social theory and social structure in sociology, contemporary social problem, social theory and functional analysis, sociology of science. So here we will discuss about functionalism. Functionalism as a school of thinking arose a critic to the utilitarian notion the humans are economically motivated, rational actors who strive to maximize their utilities or gains. Utilitarianism, which had sway in 19th century, assumed that there exists an invisible hand of order through open competition in free market, which provide people with opportunity to satisfy various needs. Auguste Comte, the father of modern sociology, referred to function in his concept, and However, Herbert Spencer is regarded as the father of functionalism in sociology. According to Radcliffe Brown, the concept of function was first used by Durkheim in 1895. To quote the word, the concept of function applied to human society is based on analogy between social life and organic life. The recognition of analogy and some of its implication is not new. In the 19th century, the analogy and the concept of function and world itself appeared frequently in social philosophy and sociology. So far as I know, the systematic formation of the concept applying to the strictly scientific study of society was that of Emile Durkheim. So, if this question is asked so many times, the first use the function term is Herbert Spencer, and elaborated in a scientific manner, that is Emile Durkheim. The functional approach in sociology has been caught in a terminological confusion. Too often a single term has been used symbolized by different concepts, just as the concept has been symbolized by different terms. According to Don Martin, the term function may be interpreted in four possible meanings. Function in the mathematics sense, function as useful activity in the meaning of the term of everyday life, function as appropriate activity which is not on utilitarian but fulfill some aim, function as a system determined or system sustaining in which function is determined by social system. So there are so many meanings of function even. So here I will make some explanation. I will throw the light how function evolved from many scientists to R.K. Merton. First of all, function term has been used by Herbert Spencer. Then it is forwarded by Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim explained in two ways. Function is positive function, and Emile Durkheim said function is of two types, positive and negative. And then function went to anthropology. In anthropology, Radcliffe Brown and Malinowski has given is functionalist postulates of functionalism that has been given by Radcliffe Brown and Malinowski. There are three postulates about the functionalism: postulate of functional unity, functional universal functionalism, functional unity, and functional indispensability. Postulate of universal functionalism means every part of the system or every unit of system is doing some function, work together and bind together, and it is important for system. This is universal functionalism. And postulates of functional unity: if every part or every unit of the system function or work positively, then it unites each other. That is postulate of functional unity. And here is human society achieve its unity primarily through the possession by its member of certain ultimate value and ends common. And postulate of universal functionalism I have earlier discussed, that is given by Malinowski as well as Radcliffe Brown. And functional unity and functional indispensability. Here, if every unit of society or system is working together and it makes unity, then it is indispensable part, and every part or every unit is indispensable for society, that is needed for society, so cannot be avoided from the society. The postulate shows that every culture itself satisfies some vital need of society and cannot be substituted by another item. Malinowski advanced this in anthropology in this form. In every type of civilization, every custom, material, object, idea, belief fulfills some vital function, has some task to accomplish, and represent an independent part within a working whole. So these three are the functional postulates: functional unity, functional universalism, and functional indispensability. And premises and propositions of functionalism. We just look at the premises and proposition of functionalism in short. Functional analysis involve emphasis on the primacy of the system. Functionalism, functional interrelation between the element. Every unit is functional. Contribute of every element to system. That is why unity makes. Integrated configuration of element. Built-in mechanism for self-regulation. It is self-regulated mechanism. Shared goal and values. Pointing out the value of shared goal and values in social system. Talcott Parsons wrote this integration of a set, common value and pattern with the internalized need, disposition, structure of the constituent personalities is the core phenomena of dynamic social system. Dominance of stability and consensus. Every unit is functional, and every unit is functional and indispensable. Functional prerequisites. Functional prerequisites is generalized condition necessary for the maintenance of a vital system, and negative condition leading to collapse of a system. The biological extinction, apathy of the members, the war of all against all, the absorption of the society into another society, provision for sexual recruitment, adequate relationship, role of differentiation and role assignment, communication, shared cognitive orientation, a shared articulated set of goals, normative regulation of means, socialization. These are the, and as we know earlier that how Spencer says about the society's function. Society's function like analogy of organism. How organism function and a structure has been established by Herbert Spencer. So similarities between society and organism here drawn by Herbert Spencer. Organism as drawn by Herbert Spencer as follows: different from inanimate bodies, increase in quantity lead to change in structure. And I have earlier mentioned Herbert Spencer topic. Herbert Spencer. Change in structure lead to change in function, differentiation as well as harmony for organs. Loss of an organ does not necessarily result in the loss of organism. Similar processes and method of organization. Difference between social and individual organism. So these are the part of body are incapable of independent existence, but part of societies can exist independently. Difference regarding a certain of consciousness. Difference regarding dependence of organs or organism. These are the differences. And now what Emile Durkheim told, earlier I explained. Emile Durkheim assumed that social fact is the unit for society to know. If you want to know about the society and social system, you have to know about the social fact. And social fact you can say it is the unit for the society, and it is functional. And social fact has three characteristics: generality and constraint and exteriority, that has already mentioned earlier. So social fact as a thing, what I have told you before. So here we will discuss about the Merton view on function. And Radcliffe-Brown emphasized Radcliffe-Brown-Malinowski individualistic functionalism. Radcliffe-Brown laid emphasis upon a structural social relationship. And following Durkheim's tradition, he, however, substituted Durkheim's term needs by necessary condition for existence. So you must remember, necessary condition for existence. Radcliffe-Brown talk about necessary condition of existence, where rather Durkheim talk about need for the society. And now we will see about the Merton views. Malinowski see the functional approach, the function of culture in Kula system, in Trobriand Islander, and in New Guinea. So he found that every cultural unit is very functional. Now we will understand the Merton structural functionalism. The term structure refers to some sort of order, arrangement of components and traits, whereas function means a system determined and system maintaining activity of the different constituent units which contribute to the maintenance of a structural continuity. From this point of view, it can be said that there are interrelationship and interdependency between a structure and function. Merton has pointed out that there are three basic assumptions of functionalism. All social units perform certain standardized positive function. These units perform these social functions for the entire social cultural system. On the basis of these functions, the very existence of social structure or social system is possible. Therefore, these units and their function are indispensable. And according to him, the assumption of functionalist is wrong, that all the social units perform only positive function. So Merton's real position is that there may be some units who do not perform positive function. So Merton describe about negative function. So that is why Merton describe about this function also. There are some units in society who do not function properly, and they have negative. Suppose they are doing crime. So he taught that there are some dysfunction of unity also. Therefore, Merton's own assumption, as stated by Don Martindale, as follows: functional unity or integration is actually subject to certain empirical condition. The same some social function usage and phenomena can be functional for one group but dysfunctional for another group. The concept of universal functionalism need to be amended because the functional consequences of one society cannot be applied to other society. The assumption that function of each unit is independentiable also need to be amended because the same unit may perform more than one function, and that the fulfillment of a function is possible by other alternative also. So he talked about the alternative also. In his functional theory, Merton has developed four basic concepts: function, dysfunction, manifest function, latent function, and there is also a term that is non-function. Function, here we will understand the Merton's concept of function, dysfunction, manifest function, latent function, and non-function. In the word of Merton, functions are those observed consequences which make for adaptation or adjustment of a given system. It makes adjustment. It is functional. So, function contribute to social organization, unity, or integration. In the same way, but opposite, dysfunction are those observed consequences which lessen the adaptation or adjustment in a system. That is dysfunction, and this is harmful for unity in the society. And there are two types of function, and manifest and latent. And there are two types of dysfunction also, manifest dysfunction and latent dysfunction. Manifest function, according to Merton, are those objective consequences contributing the adjustment or adaptation of the system which are intended or recognized by participant in the system, and that is manifest and clear. Suppose if some boy is going to college to learn, it is very clear that he has taken admission for in college for getting knowledge. This is manifest function. And latent function, according to Merton, are those which are neither intended nor recognized. That is not manifest, that is hidden. Suppose boy is going to college to learn, taking admission, but there is some latent function happen. A girl he likes most and he loves, and he got married. What is this? Is latent function. So the function is very hidden. If a person is doing MBBS course to become doctor and to achieve a better career, it is manifest function, because he is doing that with certain intention and also conscious about his results. But it by virtue of his being a doctor, his marriage is settled with a very beautiful girl and to fetches high amount of dowry. This is hidden. This would be the latent function of MBBS degree, because when he looks up MBBS course, his intention was not to fetch high dowry or to get a beautiful bride. Similarly, the manifest function of industrialization is to increase production and employment opportunities, because these objectives are intended and recognized and direct and very clear. But the latent function of the same industrialization is overcrowding of cities and development of slums, industrial disease, increase in crime and delinquency rate, prostitution, alcoholism, etc., which were neither intended nor recognized by pioneer of industries. Thus the major distinction between manifest and latent function. Manifest functions are overt in nature, while latent functions are covert. Manifest functions are done with certain pre-intention, and it is very clear. Latent function is not very clear. In a manifest function, the actor is conscious about the possible consequences of his action. In manifest function, the motive and situation of the action are within the knowledge of the actor. So this is the manifest, and in the same way there are two types of dysfunction: manifest dysfunction and latent dysfunction. So you must remember this. Manifest dysfunction is that the consequence is very clear. Suppose some laborers are going to do a strike in an industry. It is very clear that production will be affected. But while during the strike, some people in that crowd set on fire the industry, and industry has been vanished. That is the latent dysfunction, and all people have lost their job because industry is vanished. So this is latent dysfunction. And Merton's functional paradigm, it is very important to know how Merton in this section is concerned to deal with necessarily of a paradigm which contain a set of concepts without which the sociologist cannot adequately carry out functional analysis, set of concepts. As Merton put it, the paradigm brings these concept, postulate, vocabularies, ideologies, imputation together in compact form. For that, the sociologist can understand easily, thus permitting simultaneously inspection of the major requirement of functional analysis and serving an aid to self-correction. The paradigm presents the hard core of concept, procedure, and inference in functional analysis. Merton set out a long, complicated paradigm including concept and queries and containing 11 headings. You must remember at least 11 headings that have been asked in examination all the time in UGC NET as well as academic examination. So you must remember the item to which function are imputed. Merton here made it clear that functional analysis focuses on group, organization, societies and culture. He stated that any object that can be subjected to functional analysis must represent a standard item. So this is first. Concept of subjective disposition, motives and purpose should be very clear. Concept of objective consequences, function and dysfunction. Concept of unit subserved by the function. Merton point out that every item may not be dysfunction or functional for society. In other words, some item may be functional or one group or dysfunctional. So, concept of the unit subserved by function, concept of functional requirement, need and prerequisites, concept of mechanism through which functions are fulfilled, concept of functional alternative, concept of a structural context, there is a structure, concept of dynamic and changes, problem validation of functional analysis, and 11th one is problems of the ideological implication of functional analysis. And these are the functional paradigm. Criticism of functionalism has great criticism. Given ahead, criticism have been advanced against functionalism. Substantive criticism. According to Perseus Cohen, the chief substantive criticism of functionalism are these. It is over emphasizes the normative element in social life, minimize the importance of social conflict and expenses of social solidarity, teleological bias. Functional has explained every incest taboo with reference to social purpose according to him. The incest taboo confines sexual relation and sentiment to marriage and child, brother and sister. In this way, confusion is prevented and family organization maintained. Emphasis on solidarity rather than conflict, very important. Only functional approach, and there is no approach of conflict and dysfunction in functional analysis. Emphasis on a status rather than change. They neglect the change. So, reaction to systematic change is not always adjustive. Social system can, for a long period, go through a vicious circle of over-depending malnutrition, malintegration. Change can be revolutionary, and the social structure itself generates change through internal conflict and contradiction. These all are utopian. This is ideological criticism. Utopian, maintenance of a status quo. These are the dysfunction, radicalism. So these are the critics of methodological criticism, weak method, lack of predictability in functionalism, inadequate treatment of individual socio-relationship. So now here we will discuss about reference group. I would like to tell you one thing. The concept of reference group originated in the field of social psychology first, and from social psychology it comes in sociology. And the concept of reference group was introduced by H. Hyman in his book The Psychology of Status in 1942, in the first time in the world. And this question is asked in all the competitive exams, including UGC. In order to understand the concept broadly, we may distinguish between two types of membership group and reference group. Membership group, and one is where we are a member of that group. That is called membership group. And we want to become like other groups. That is our reference group. We are mentally with that group. Suppose if a person want to become IAS. So whatever the student group is his own group. Either he is a student of master degree, but he want to become a police officer. The police officer group is reference group. The group which individual is actually the member and which is his own group is called membership group. But in practice it can be observed that psychologically an individual can maintain his relationship in such a group of which he is not an actual member, but even then attempt to include in his behavior and action the norms, values and behavior pattern outside that group. And different definition of reference group: sheriff and sheriff. Reference group are those groups to which the individual relate himself as part to which he aspires to relate himself psychologically in everyday language. So he himself relates psychologically, aspires himself. Robert R.K. Merton explained any of the in-group or out-group which become point of reference for shaping one's attitude, evaluation and behavior is a reference group. Essential element of reference group: every reference group has a psychological basis. Very important. Individual tries to assimilate in his behavior and action the norms, value and behavior pattern of reference group. Many individuals can have a common reference group. Similarly, there can be many reference groups in a society. Reference group is ideal from the point of view of the individual. Once a reference group, always a reference group is not rule. Reference group can be changed. A reference group is usually a superior or higher group of which an individual is not the actual member. Each and every reference group is ideal from individual point of view, but this does not mean that from the point of view of society also reference group is essential. So here we will discuss the theory of Merton. Systematic data of Robert Merton and Ross, both the American soldier. They studied the American soldier, provided useful occasion for examining Merton's theory of reference group behavior, which has been further clarified and improved in Merton's social theory and social structure. In this connection, Merton's conclusion is that reference group of an individual can be both his membership group or in-group, as well as non-membership group or out-group. In the first case, the member of his own group can be the reference, or member of his own group cannot be his reference group. Means if you are a member of your own group and that group is good for you and you think that group is ideal, that is your reference group, your in group, and it may be your out group. Out group means if you are a member of that group and the group which is out from your group, that is ideal. So Merton's theory of reference group can briefly stated: membership group as reference group. Merton's observed that membership group would be maybe a reference group for you if you are good. For soldier, for example, subgroup of soldier become their reference group. And multiple reference group, conflicting reference group, mutually sustaining reference group, significant other, conformity and non-conformity, and non-membership group. He's talking about non-membership group, positive and negative reference group. This is also if you are watching a group and you want to become a member of that group, that is your positive reference group, and you want to go away from that group, a group that is lower from your status, that is your negative reference group. Selection of reference, individual or group, and functional aspect of reference group. Here Merton says that if you have got the position in the reference group, that would be functional for you, and your creativity will increase. If you did not get the opportunity to enter in that group and to become a member of that reference group, you would be a marginal man and your creativity will be lost. You will be a marginal man. You will not be in your own group, as well as whatever you want to become a group, that is reference group. So this is the major contribution of Merton in sociological theory. And a written collaboration with Ross and the theory itself. Second, the contribution, the theory, the concept. He associated the concept of relative deprivation, which is given the American soldier by Samuel Stoffer, a central theory of reference group. Merton told that relative deprivation is important for reference group for the interpretation of variation in the attitude among different categories of men in relation to age, education, marital status, and so forth. In order to highlight the connection of the concept of relative deprivation with reference group theory, it is essential to relate them with the notion of other that represent non-membership or outgroup. In this sense, a series, a concept such as membership or non-membership group or in-group or out-group involved. As Merton says, reference group are in principle almost innumerable, any of the group of which one is member, and these are, of course, can become point of reference for shaping one's attitude, evaluating behavior. So, relative deprivation means, in developing the concept of relative deprivation, the author of the American soldier or on the whole center the attention on the deprivation component rather than relative component of the concept. Concept primarily used to understand the feeling of dissatisfaction and deprivation or injustice among soldiers. Author recognized that deprivation is the incidental and particularized component of concept of relative deprivation. Here, relative deprivation means every member of the society compare with other member relatively. Suppose a person 500 rupees is stolen and a person's 100 rupees is stolen. Who will be more deprived? The person whose 500 rupees stolen would be more deprived than a person whose 100 rupees is stolen. This theory is completely, and with the reference of that person, relative deprivation, he judges or evaluates himself. He thinks the person whose 100 rupees stolen think that I did not get lost. The concept of group and group membership This is also a group which you are member and a group which you are not a member. That can be, both the group can be the membership, can be the reference group. So concept of in group and out group. In group means we are the member of a group, and we out group which is not our member of. And this concept has been given by Graham Sumner. I have already explained in social group in Introduction to Sociology, positive and negative reference group, and this is given by Newcomb. This is also very important. Concept of anticipatory socialization, that is also given by R.K. Merton. Very important. A person want to socialize whatever he will do in future. To understand reference group theory, it is essential to discuss this anticipatory socialization also. Determinants of reference group. Selection of reference group and reference individual is very important. Selection of reference group among non-membership group and selection of reference group among membership group. There are many types. A structure element of reference group: observability and visibility, pattern, avenues of information about norms and values, role performance. Non-conformity as a type of reference group behavior. The structural context of reference group behavior. These are the basic points, and we will discuss about middle range theory. We will discuss about middle range theory. Broadly, there are two viewpoints or methodology for formulating sociological theory, and that is micro and macro approach. Micro level and macro level. Micro level approach involve very it assumes a unit as a human being behavior, as a social action. Macro level, the approach involves extensive study on the basis of larger size of the universe, of the unit of the study, while the micro level involves intensive study on the basis of very limited size of the universe, of the unit of the study. So in macro level, the size of universe is very big. Suppose in this category, earlier classical theories has been given by Karl Marx, Auguste Comte, Emile Durkheim, and Herbert Spencer, and you can say about these scientists who study about whole society, and theory imposed on whole the society. Suppose Durkheim says that there is changes in mechanical to organic solidity for a larger society. So this is why Don Martindale has observed that distinction between macro and micro approaches is made purely in terms of size of the unit, cohesion as the basic type of system of branch of the theory in question. More clearly, in macro approach, a wide universe of a macro sociological problem or social phenomena is chosen for a study and the basis of extensive study in macro level, and a theory is formulated. On the other hand, micro approach is a smaller size of unit and selected, and study is conducted very intensively, and theory is it is intensive and that is extensive. So here we will talk what is middle range theory. So the main exponent of this approach is Robert Merton. He developed his point of view in his book Social Theory and Social Structure. According to him, the theories of the middle range are those theories that lie between the minor but necessary working hypotheses that evolve in abundance during day-to-day research and the all-inclusive system effort to develop an unified theory that will explain all the observed uniformity of social behavior, social organization and social change. More clearly, a middle-range theory is neither so minor as day-to-day working hypothesis nor so extensive which could explain everything. It occupies a position in between very particular and very general theories, or between very few and all of observed fact, social behavior, social organization and social change. So, it is in between micro and macro. So, it is in between micro and macro. Its study is not micro level or not macro level, but it balances the micro and macro. So this is the micro and macro level. And nature. Merton has maintained that middle-range theory is practically used in sociology to guide empirical inquiry. It is intermediate on the one hand to general theory of social system, which are too remote from particular classes of social behavior, organization and change to account for what is observed, and on the other hand to those detailed orderly description of particulars that are not generalized at all. Merton middle-range theories involve abstraction of course, but they are close enough to observed data to be incorporated in proposition that permit empirical testing, as it is evident from its very name. Middle-range theory delimit aspect of social phenomena, as is indicated by their label. That is to say, it does not at time take into consideration all the type of social behavior. Merton, by citing a few examples, has characteristically explained the nature of middle-range theories. Gilbert on magnetism, Boyle on atmospheric pressure, and Darwin's on formation of coral atolls, respectively, begins with the relatively simple idea that the kite may be conceived as a magnet, with the simple idea that atmosphere may be conceived as a sea of air, or atoll considered upward or outward growth of coral over island long subsided into the sea. Each theory provides an image giving rise to interference. Merton has pointed out that it is equally clear that such middle-range theories are not logically derived from a single all-embracing theory of social system. Though once developed, they may be consistent with one. More, each theory is more than a mere proposition summarizing observed uniformities of relationship between two or more variable. That is, middle-range theories concern themselves with more or less restricted field of social behavior, social organization and social change. In support of middle-range theory, Merton has cited many ancient and modern scholars who have supported the policy of middle-range theory. For example, Plato observed that particulars are infinite and higher generalized give no sufficient direction, and that the pith of all science, which makes the arts man differ from the inexpert in the middle preposition. Criticism or rejection of middle-range theory. Few have rejected idea of middle-range theory with more eloquence than Robert Bellstead when he writes, "We have even been invited to forego those large problems of human society that occupied history of social thought and seek instead what T.H. Marshall called a stepping stone in the middle distance." And other sociologists, since theories of middle range, but what an anemic ambition this is. Shall we strive for half victory? To the criticism, Merton's answer is that Bellst has himself admitted that, in my own opinion, one of the greatest pieces of sociological research even conducted by any one is Max Weber's Protestant Ethic and Spirit of Capitalism. For surely, says Merton, the monograph is a prime example of theorizing in the middle-range theory. It deals with a severely delimited problem, one that happened to be exemplified in a particular historical epoch, with implication for other societies and other times. Now, summary. We should understand. Middle-range theories consist of limited sets of assumptions from which specific hypotheses are logically derived and confirmed by empirical investigation. These theories do not remain separate but are consolidated into a wider network of theory. These theories are sufficiently abstract to deal with differing spheres of social behavior and social structure so that they transcend and shared decision or empirical generalization. This type of theory cuts across the distinction between micro-sociological problems as evidenced in a small group research and macro-sociological problems as evidenced in comparative study of social organization. Marx's historical materialism, Parsons' theory of social system, and Sorokin immoral sociology falling in the category of total sociological and present general theoretical orientation. Many theories of middle range are consonant with various systems of sociological thought. Middle range theories are in direct line with the work of classical theorem called formulation, whereas residuary legatees of Durkheim and Weber, who famish ideas, exemplify tactics of theorizing. Middle-range orientation specifies ignorance. It expressly recognizes that we aim to lay a foundation for still more knowledge. Further, it addresses itself to those problems that may be clarified in the light of available knowledge. So, thus theories of middle range involved in the description of social phenomena. In Merton's view, middle range theory would be able to provide a general theoretical orientation towards social phenomena. Middle range theory is used in sociology to guide empirical phenomena. So you must understand. Theory of reference group, the theory of relative deprivation, and Merton's own theory of role set are some of examples of use of middle range theory. Reference group, relative deprivation, and role sets, these are theory of middle range. These theories are quite different from those all embracing total system of sociological theory. Merton rightly point out middle range theory as follows. It is intermediate to general theories of social system, which are too remote from particular classes of social behavior, organization and change to account for what is observed, and to those detailed orderly description of particulars that are not generalized at all. Middle range theory involve abstraction, of course, but they are close enough to observe data to be incorporated in proposition that permit empirical testing. Mill theory deal with delimit aspect of social phenomena. Merton's theory of mid-range, in fact, primarily concerned with a guide to empirical inquiry. You must remember, intermediate between general and particular theories of social system, abstraction that permits empirical testing, delimit aspect of social phenomena. These are the conclusion. Frank Hawkins conclude that mill-range theory seems like to have the greater explicative significance. Here, much has been done relating to mass communication, class stratification, bureaucracy, a small group of various types, another important aspect of social totally. So, these are the mill-range theory. Now, we will discuss about anomy, social structure. Merton's remarkable work is Social Structure and Anomy, and it is first published in 1938, an article form. Later it included in his book Social Theory and Social Structure. Merton's theory of anomy is also known as theory of deviance. Must understood the central aim of theory, what cause of deviance, rate and type of society. What cause of deviance, rate and type in. So why deviance occur? What are the reasons? So in fact, Durkheim also studied about anomy and theoretical analysis. Unlike Durkheim, who emphasized man's overweening ambition to achieve an unattainable goal, Merton sought to discover how some social structure exert a definite pressure upon certain persons in the society to engage in non-conforming rather than conforming conduct. So here Merton discussed about the social structure. Merton says that social structure is the real cause for anomy. Social structure in itself exerts the pressure for conducting conforming behavior or non-conforming behavior. And Merton says that in every society there is social structure, and in their social structure there is cultural structure, and that define the regulate and control acceptance mode of reaching out of this goal. In every society there is some goals, and there is some means how to achieve that goal. Suppose here in short we will discuss, there is cultural goal in every society, and there is institutionalized means, and in every social structure there is cultural goal and there is institutionalized means. And if you want to achieve that goal with the help of that institutionalized means, that social structure establish that means, then there are cultural goals as well as institutionalized means in every social structure. And if cultural goals and institutionalized means is positive, means Merton outlined 5 possible ways in which member of American society can respond to success goal. In discussion, Merton uses plus minus and classify 5 ways to explain anomy. In this classification, Merton used indicate acceptance of the goal of monetary success and the means to the goal, and he used a negative to indicate rejection of the goal or means to it. Merton classification of 5 ways are conformity, innovation, conformity, innovation, ritualism, retreat, and rebellion. Conformity, innovation, ritualism, conformity, innovation, ritualism, retreat, and rebellion. There are 5 ways of action by the people to achieve goal, or you can say conformity between goal and means. If people, a group of people who accept goals as well as means, that is called conformity. Means they accept goals as well as means. Suppose some students want to some person want to become rich, and he does business for becoming rich. He open a shop and doing business and become rich. And some people are want to become rich, but they are not doing such activities. Like suppose they are stealing, they are doing wrong things. Then that is not the normative of the society. That is not the institutionalized means. So it is not conformity. So in the conformity you will find that there must be a goal and should be accepted and means, and there should be an adjustment between goals and means. Then the society is normal and social system is balanced. But this is conformity. But in innovation there is goal but not means. Whatever I have given you example, if a person want to become rich, but he want to become rich in a night, he want to just play lottery and do some dacoits and stealing and cutting pocket and want to become rich. That is innovation. That is deviation actually. And ritualism means they have means, they accept the means, but they do not accept the goals. That is ritualism. And retreatism, in this group, people do not accept even the goal and do not accept the institutionalized means. And rebellion, sometimes they accept the means and goals, and sometimes they reject the means and goal. So here you will find that questions is always asked in this category. Suppose you will be asked in UGC NET that in innovation, the innovation, what is the character of innovation? The people accept the goal but do not accept the means. People accept the means but do not accept the goal. People do not accept the goal and means. People accept the goal and means. So you could understand it. So it is very easy. So I have already make you understand. So there are 4 or 5 types of behavior in a social structure: conformity, innovation, ritualism, retreatism, and rebellion. These are the, and simple enemy refers to a state of confusion in a group of society which is subject to conflict between value system, resulting in some degree of uneasiness and sense of separation from the group. Acute enemy to deterioration, and at the extreme, the disintegration of value system, which result in marked anxiety. In short, Merton accepts the view that the conflict between cultural goal and institutionalized means are the primary source of enemy. So he also gave emphasis on enemy in a sociological concept rather than psychological one. Enemy, he accepts that enemy is not a psychological, it is sociological. It is sociology. It depends upon the social structure. In conclusion, now Merton completely focus on social structure. Merton says that why people are deviating due to the social structure of the society. Conclusion: Merton is known his contributions to functionalism as bringing in greater scope for meso level of analysis through his mid-range theories. Such theories have an empirical grounding instead of being explanation structured around the real empirical grounding, real of abstraction. His ideas are more methodological oriented rather a claim over a grand theory. Robert Merton is considered to be the most outstanding American sociologist who has made major contribution in the field of sociological concept, theories and method of sociology. During the decade 1940s, Merton got mainstream position in American sociology. His major contributions to sociology are the science of sociology, functional approach, social system, social structure, sociological theory, social change, and deviation. Merton considers sociology a scientific discipline. In this sense, he tries to bridge the hatches between sociological theory and empirical research. Merton illustrates his application of sociological theory and empirical research to the theory of reference group, enemy and nature of science, or ethos of science. So, however, he gives more emphasis on social structure. Merton described not only social but ecological factor also in the analysis of social structure, status and real status and role. Merton's psychological emphasis can be seen in the analysis of membership group and in the concept of anticipatory socialization. In theoretical analysis, Merton takes a middle path between macro and micro theories in terms of middle-range theories. Merton also has deals the concept of role, status, social structure, social system, group, and so on. These are the basic units of understanding the nature of society. However, he gives more emphasis more and more on social structure. Merton describes not only social but ecological factors that actually repeated. So later on we will discuss on social system about target person. So I think you have understood about Merton. Merton main focus is on social structure. Merton says that every result from the society come from social structure. Social structure has means and goals, and it depends upon the means and goals and social structure, how the role play the individual in society, how would be the status, how would be the social structure, how would be the system, how would be the institution, how would be the goal. All depends upon social structure. Thank you.